Oh, really? You draw? Ah, is that what you study? So when do you begin your real degree? These are the questions that daily as a designer I actually face from the place that I actually come from. My name is Vries, and this is the art form or whatever. I come from a third world country, and I will not list it as stated before, but for security reasons. But basically, I come from a middle-class family with two hard-working parents, and they grew up in a system where white-collar jobs were everything. So it's either you one thing, doctor, lawyer, accountant. This was you. There was no actual room for every single time you try and mention the word brush, it was pen or pencil. It never ever has or never ever will be like that. When I came to Cyprus International University, I tried to meet the medium between my father and I studied architecture. I was like, oh, okay, it's fine. I mean, architecture, they wear collars and every single thing. But as soon as I got here, my lecturer, Roya, when she actually sees this, I changed within the first week and I went into graphic design because that was my passion. And now this was probably the scariest decision that I've ever had in my life. Now, changing my dad's mentality was one thing. But like, a man can dream, can't he? Right. And this is me. But no disrespect to him in terms of change, but I haven't seen any. What the way I actually looked like is, maybe he had good intentions for me, but I was stifled by the system and couldn't bring any. The way I actually even think about it is like, that's what actually gets me thinking. This man's city is fair, but they let my father steer a ship, but the ship was sinking. But I've actually got more things to think about. Like, for example, what is art? This is the man city that my actual parents actually lived in. When you go in the system, this is all they were taught. A key mechanism of what right and wrong was. Their dreams were not actually put because they're encapsulated by a system that actually went and said, this is right and this is wrong. Because success was driven by being, in quotes, paper pushers, as how we like to call them. Now I really want to ask you something. Every single person in here, you can say, I am an artist, and I hope you can actually say this. Because you actually are. Now what actually is art? For me, I've actually broken it down into an actual, well, as you can see, application, aesthetics, rhythm, and technique. Now application starts on the basics of you as a person. How do you apply yourself as an artist, and how are you as a person? You claim you want to actually go become a doctor, but you apply to university to actually take the first step to actually be one. You go and look at that. Aesthetic is you as a person. How good are you at what you actually believe in? If you were a singer, do you actually sound good? These are the actual questions you need to ask. Going down to aesthetics, we're actually looking at two things. The problem with society is actually like this. We are training ourselves to actually look at a situation where a fish and a monkey are in a race together on who can climb the tree the fastest. Now, one of you both see here, there are two drawings right here on the board. One right here, both of them are drawings. Now, the level of aesthetic is up to you. Now, you go and see a stick man, and then you see something that's like, but what do I see? I see two people that are thinking. The idea is put across no matter what it is. You really need to look at the intention of the artist or the person who was actually creating it, because every art form is something different. Now, in terms of rhythm, this is actually you as a person, as you artist. How are you working towards it? If you're a football player, you would know by now the rhythm. What rhythm are you working at? You need to ask yourself, like, the guy next door to me is training 4 times a week, and I'm training once. Why are you not in the first team? How frequent are you actually doing this? And then last of art, how it actually goes. Your technique. We have many designers in here, and we have people. Your technique of how you're actually going to meet your end goal as an artist, as you as a person, goes with one thing. If you're going to be a person who's in a football academy and you enroll, your chances of actually getting to your goal, that is your technique of getting there. Compared to an engineer who could actually take an internship versus someone who actually goes to varsity. Now, I'm pretty sure all of us know in this room, varsity does not mean success. It does not actually mean that. That obtaining that little piece of paper does not mean you are going to go into this world and you are going to get money. That is the actual thing that we actually need to look at. Now, you need to actually ask yourself, After all this is done and you leave university, when your story is told, how will they tell it? Are they going to remember you as a giver, or are they going to remember you as selfish? Are they going to pretend that you're a sinner, or say that you were a saint? Will you go down as a winner? What's the picture you're going to paint? One thing you say you're a quitter, but that's one thing I know you ain't. Would they tarnish, would they taint? Glorify you, overthink. Say you were phony, say you're fake. Say the things to you that they would never say to your face. I myself was loved, I was hated. I was just an artist with a dream. But guess what? I'm a liar. I'm not honest. I was all of these things. When I'm gone, let them talk. I'll be discussing who I am. Now, who am I, ladies and gentlemen? I am vintage Mozart. If you really, really want to know who I am, it started off a few years ago. Little idea right here at Cyprus International University of me just actually drawing, and I started as an illustrator. It started off as something, let's do something cool. How about make your Instagram? Everyone has an Instagram page. Let's just make it cool so everyone can see. But that was the actual first mistake as me as a designer went. Because designers convey a message that actually implies into someone. The hidden message that you cannot read. So this is actually the beginning of my actual story of how I call myself the caterpillar. The caterpillar was the person who actually went and gathered from every single artist in this actual institution of what art actually is. And ate information from every single person, gathered ideas, listened to people and every single person, and I was not selective. And as the journey actually passed, I met someone who was so important into my mind, to me. A man known as Taj Francis. Now it's actually sad to say that this man was actually my idol and my hero, and when I actually went and I showed him, I went from inspiration, ladies and gentlemen, turned into imitation. The image before you is actually Taj Francis's work, and the one after is me. Now, what did I actually think I was doing? Setting up the bar, the standard that my friends went and told me that I could do it. You're a yes man. When you went and you told me, this is not good enough, it crushed me. Now, what did this actually turn into? My idol became my rival. This was the beginning of Slime Season 1 of what I actually called. And basically, what I do? I changed. I just added a bit of color. There was no actual difference between the actual two. But then I go and I said this was just like closure for myself. So the person that I went and inspired me so much, I ended up hating. This is a man that did not even know me. We knew one another behind the screen, and he just gave me his opinion and told me, no, you're good, but you're not great. Words like that, if anyone is an artist in this room or any form, it is damaging to you. Now this is actually when I actually went. I was upset, and this is when I actually got institutionalized. It's funny how when I talked about my parents coming out of one system, but I went into another myself. We actually go and see. I hated the fact that people hated season 1. So I went into 2, but what did I do? I went to actually do it to satisfy the people. If you actually look at the picture on the left, my left, that's actually season 1 and into 2. It was just basically to actually satisfy the needs of the people. But me, myself, I hate it, like personally. But guess what? You may not like it, but it was always my child, and you will always love it as a parent. But this is the actual thing of how I was actually, it was enclosed in these walls that I actually realized this. I was hiding as an artist. And then I went back to him, and he went and he said, it's okay, you know, you could do better, it's whatever. And as it went in, it continued, and it went in through a season. But then this is actually when I actually got to the final stage to where I actually am, and realized who I am as an artist. And this is the internal struggle. We went down into every single thing, and instead of actually trying to impress every single person, I realized that at the end of the day, what is important? Is my message being conveyed? Am I conveying it for you, for me, and what makes me happy? I'm pretty sure every single person knows art actually dies in the sense, not because when money comes into it, when you start to do it for money. That is when you go and you kill your creativity. You become bland. You become the monster you never ever wanted to become. And that's what I actually did. That's what actually happened to me. But what did I do when I actually came to season 3? It did not bring me down. I had a lot of friends that actually helped me and inspired. And I'm pretty sure you guys actually know this phrase, in a room full of mirrors, so you are surrounded by winners. Now, basically for me, at the beginning of season 1, it was all about Liam, and me being by myself. My arrogance, knowing how good I was, why I could not listen, wondering, why did he not accept it? Me not accepting something turned me into competing with another person, yet we were in 2 different leagues in 2 different ball games. But then this is actually, it comes down into an equation of math. If you see a reflection of yourself, and you see me, cut that reflection, and then you see me in half. That's the way you actually need to look at it. Now, slime season, you guys actually wonder what it actually is about. It is basically beauty behind the madness. I wanted people to actually wonder, so much color, but something disgusting, but I have a fusion of both, and then you actually know the art behind it. Whether you understand it or not, I wanted you to see it as something beautiful. Now you actually need to, well, this all said, I actually just want to actually share something important to myself. And basically it's actually a poem by A.A.R.T. And basically it actually relates to actually my life and how it actually went through and actually slime season and everything. So it basically goes, the caterpillar is the prisoner to the streets that conceived it. Its only job is to eat or consume everything around it in order to protect itself from this mad city. While consuming its environment, the caterpillar begins to notice ways to survive. One thing it noticed is how much the world shuns him, but praises the butterfly. Sorry. The butterfly represents the talent, the thoughtfulness, and the beauty within the caterpillar. By having a harsh outlook on life, the caterpillar sees the butterfly as weak and figures a way to pimp it to its own benefit. Already surrounded by this mad city, the caterpillar goes to work on the cocoon, which institutionalizes him. He no longer can see his past thoughts. He's trapped. When he's trapped in these walls, ideas begin to root, such as going home, bringing back concepts to this mad city. The result, wings begin to emerge, the cycle of feeling stagnant. Finally free, the butterfly sheds light on situations that the caterpillar never ever considered, ending the internal struggle. The most important thing that you actually need to remember is that although the butterfly and the caterpillar were completely different, they were one and the same. Thank you very much.